Chapter 46. What follows from this? That one does well to put on gloves when reading the New Testament. The proximity of so much uncleanness almost forces one to do this. We would no more choose the first Christians to associate with than Polish Jews. Not that one even required any objection to them. They both do not smell good. I have looked in vain through the New Testament to decry even a single sympathetic feature. There is nothing in it that is free, gracious, candid, honest. Humaneness does not even make its first beginnings here. The instincts of cleanliness lacking. There are only bad instincts in the New Testament, and not even the courage to have these bad instincts. Everything in it is cowardice, everything is shutting one's eyes, and self-deception. Every book becomes clean just after one has read the New Testament. To give an example, it was with utter delight that right after Paul, I read that most graceful, most prankish mocker Petronius, of whom one might say what Domenico Boccaccio wrote to the Duke of Parma about Caesar Borgia, e tutto festo, immortally healthy, immortally cheerful, and well turned out. For these little prigs miscalculate precisely where it matters most. They attack, but everything they attack is distinguished thereby. To be attacked by a first Christian is not to be soiled. On the contrary, it is an honor to be opposed by first Christians. One does not read the New Testament without a predilection for that which is maltreated in it, not to speak of the wisdom of this world, which an impudent windmaker tries in vain to ruin with foolish preaching. But even the Pharisees and scribes derive an advantage from such opposition. They must have been worth something to have been hated in so indecent a manner. Hypocrisy! What a reproach in the mouths of first Christians! In the end, they were men of privilege. That is enough. Chandala hatred requires no further grounds. The first Christian, I am afraid the last Christian too, and I may yet live to see him, is from his lowest instincts a rebel against everything privileged. He lives, he fights always for equal rights. Examined more closely, he has no choice. If one wants to be chosen by God, or a temple of God, or a judge of the angels, then any other principle of selection, for example, according to integrity, spirit, virility and pride, beauty and freedom of the heart, is merely world, evil in itself. Moral. Every word in the mouth of a first Christian is a lie. Every act he performs a falseness of instinct. All his values, all his goals are harmful. But whomever he hates, whatever he hates, that has value. The Christian, the priestly Christian in particular, is a criterion of value. Need I add that in the whole New Testament there is only a single figure who commands respect? Pilate, the Roman governor. To take a Jewish affair seriously, he does not persuade himself to do that. One Jew more or less, what does it matter? The noble scorn of a Roman, confronted with an impudent abuse of the word truth, has enriched the New Testament with the only saying that has value, one which is its criticism, even its annihilation. What is truth? In chapter 47, that we find no God, either in history or in nature or behind nature, is not what differentiates us, but that we experience what has been revered as God, not as godlike, but as miserable, as absurd, as harmful, not merely as an error, but as a crime against life. We deny God as God. If one were to prove this God of the Christians to us, we should be even less able to believe in him. In a formula, Deus qualum polus creavit, Dei negatio. A religion like Christianity, which does not have contact with reality at any point, which crumbles as soon as reality has conceded its rights at even a single point, must naturally be mortally hostile against the wisdom of this world, which means science. It will applaud all means with which the discipline of the spirit, purity and severity in the spirit's matters of conscience, the noble coolness and freedom of the spirit can be poisoned, slandered, brought into disrepute. Faith, as an imperative, is the veto against science. In practice, the lie at any price. Paul comprehended that the lie, that faith, was needed. Later the church in turn comprehended Paul. The God whom Paul invented, a God who ruins the wisdom of the world, in particular philology and medicine, the two great adversaries of all superstition, is in truth merely Paul's own resolute determination to do this, to give the name of God to one's own will, Torah, that is thoroughly Jewish. Paul wants to ruin the wisdom of the world. His enemies are the good philologists and physicians with Alexandrian training. It is they against whom he wages war. Indeed, one cannot be a philologist or physician without at the same time being an anti-Christian. For as a philologist, one sees behind the holy books. As a physician, behind the physiological depravity of the typical Christian. The physician says, incurable. The philologist, swindle.